Ichigo Awakens by Talacha, Chapter 71, Intoxicating Despair. Chad and Tatsuki versus Noritora and Tessera. It's the spot blocked with his ass as Chad threw an El Directo punch, letting the energy of the attack blast the Septima away. As the energy dissipated, Sado appeared in front of Noritora and used brighter light on his hands to enhance his strike by bringing both fists down on his head. Tatsuki, in the meantime, was keeping the Frastion busy. The Rankar Tessera was growing more and more aggravated. His master was having more trouble than he should. They came in when the intruder was weakened by his fight with the Privion, but apparently the Fullbringer was in better condition than they thought. The Frastion got into a blade lock with Tatsuki and looked over to Chad, charging a Zero in his eye. The martial artist recognized the energy built up and who was the proper target. Sado! She yelled out just as Tessera fired his attack. Chad was wrestling Noritora, trying to get the massive axe away from the Spada. When Tatsuki called out the warning, he shifted his body weight to turn them around and let Noritora take the brunt of the blast. When the Rankar's grip slacked for that instant, Chad ripped the weapon out of the Spada's hand and slammed the axe down on him. With that chance, Chad used the blade to pin the Spada down with his own crescent axe. Master Noritora! Tessera called out in horror. Tatsuki took advantage of the matter by kneeing him in the fork of his face, making him drop as pain coursed through him, then tore his blade out of his hand and tossed it aside before pinning him on the ground. Guntenbein took the blade and kept a distance away from the group, looking to give his allies an advantage. You bastards! Noritora growled before Chad stopped on his head. Be quiet and listen. The Fullbringer said, ensuring he had the Spada's attention. Screw you! Noritora growled out, starting to glow as his power gathered around him. Pray, Santa Teresa! The part of his axe that had pinned him down, charged with power, pushing Chad away from him. Tatsuki gripped the slack as she tried to shield her eyes, giving Tessera the chance to free himself. As he managed to roll out from under her and charge at Gantenbane, the Privaron was too stunned to stop the Frastion from turning his blade around and stabbing him in the stomach. Crush, Veluga! He yelled, becoming cloaked in smoke as he grew in size and transformed. When the dust settled, Chad and Tatsuki saw what their enemies became. Tessera grew into a giant warthog-esque mentor creature, towering over both of them, while Noritora gained lopsided crescent moon horns and another pair of arms, all of which had sights. If you're going to take that hole, stay down, and I might get to live in the new Las Noches after your buddy kills Ice and Crap. Then you can forget it. The Spada roared out. I'm not just here to kill you for intruding. I want to draw out that bastard Kurosaki. Chad narrowed his eyes in a glare at the Rankar as he continued. I know you're one of the weaker members of your team, so I really shouldn't bother, but killing you would definitely net me a fight with that hybrid Aizen is so worried about that. I don't care about peace or fighting or fighting weaklings, especially ones that have to rely on some bitch's help. Now Tatsuki got pissed. But if I kill the two of you, then I'll get him to come to me. Then I'll let him in on a little secret. I'm the one responsible for the attack on his house. We've killed mommy dearest. We've killed mommy dearest. Stable Cure didn't stop me. Tatsuki was shaking with rage while Chad seemed to relax. I see. Then I guess the only thing left to do here is to show you mercy. The Fullbringer said as he looked at Tatsuki and nodded him, signaling her that they had to go all out. Ignite, Hidori! Tatsuki calmly said, getting her gauntlets and greaves while Chad began to charge himself up, the Fullbringer's arms slowly growing in size. Mercy? Noritora asked as Tessera stood on the opposite side of the pair. Are you looking down on me, bastards? The mercy we'll show you is the fight you want, Chad answered as his armor extended further over his body. If you follow through with your course of action, Ichigo would destroy you. That wouldn't be a fight, it'd be a slaughter. Noritora continued to glare at the two as they got into their fighting stance. It's for your sake that we kill you here and now. With Basbeam, right, Uryu is in really bad shape. The thought as he carried the unconscious and bloody Quincy across the desert sands, being careful not to aggravate his already serious wounds. Uryu said that if anyone gets this badly injured, to take them to her immediately. She's not too far away from here. Ichigo, Tatsuki, and that Sato guy seem to be busy. Not as a decisive win as I would have liked, but this is going fine. fine so far. He had to slow down as he noticed Uryu started to cough up a little mouthfuls of blood. His control is slipping. I'm running out of time. He stopped to safely readjust Uryu to a more stable position on his back when he noticed their guest, a black car that seemed to be glaring at his companions. And you are. My name is Sorimari Zomari Zurausk. I am in spot number 8. The Rancor said, still glaring at Uryu. I have unfinished business with that Quincy you are carrying. Does this mean you're still sore about being called out on your bullshit? Basby asked, causing Zomari to glare at him now. Yeah, he told me about you and the other Rancor he had any knowledge on. And let me tell you this, you Hollows deserved it. Quincy have the same problem of just taking, but at least we can learn and admit it. My people were born that way, and we had to adapt and adjust. Hollows are born from the loss of a heart and become animals. The few Hollows I've seen that retain enough sentience to talk are usually cruel and vicious. So where was Uryu wrong in his statement? Somebody disappeared with Sonita. Shut up, bastard! The Rancor roared as he was immediately in Basby's guard, plunging his Sanpakto into the senator's stomach. The blade connected and snapped against the Quincy's blue-reinforced skin. What? The spotter gasped, staring at his broken blade before looking at Basby's fingers. I know I should make the offer for you to surrender, but I think Ichigo will understand, Basby said, looking down at the Rancor with contempt. Burn finger 4, he said before creating a sword of flames and slicing through the spotter's limbs. Okay, double time. I took too much time with this, Basby continued, readjusting Uryu on his back and leaving the crippled and screaming Rancor behind him. With Orihime, okay, they're heading in our direction again. Bambita reported as Candice managed their transport platform this time. Should be another minute or so. You sure you can heal him? The explode asked the exorcist as she finished healing Rukia, who managed to catch up to the group. There's very little I can't heal Bambi. So as long I can focus. Orihime replied, turning her gaze over to where Tatsuki and Chad were currently fighting, which might actually be a challenge. The Stone Reaper and Soul Reaper cast their sight in the same direction as Orihime, feeling the fluctuations of battle. We have to have confidence in them, Rika said, trying to cheer up their healer. They've both made tremendous progress since I first met them, and your squad doesn't have any weak members. Orihime smiled as Rukia tried to boost her confidence, and once again the Quincy thought about their own allies and how many would have the same confidence or even try to help. Both shuddered when they thought of a certain ally and her particular type of help. Sorry I'm late. Ran into a roadblock, Basby said, appearing on the platform and gently settling Uryu down. Most of his organs and muscles were crushed. He's barely keeping himself together as it is. Shunyo Ayame Zuten Kishun. She ordered, making the two spirits come out and double the efficiency of the healing. The outside evidence of the damage began to reverse at a rapid pace, and the Stoners release a sigh of relief when they felt the spirit threads holding Uryu together released with no consequences. He'll be fine. Thank you for looking after him, Basby, Orihime said with a smile, making the Quincy blush. Is this what happens when allies actually care about one another? He wondered to himself, thinking about his old friend, or rather his former friend. No problem. This just leaves Sado and Arisawa fighting another Spada and Kurosaki, who seems to be fighting his own battle, he said as a large cloud of dust erupted in the distance. Though, if I had to guess, they're just warming up. Ichigo can handle himself, Rukia said, taking charge of the matter as the highest ranked officer in the group, with Uryu still unconscious. For now, let's find Chad and Tatsuki. They'll need healing when they finish their fight. Everyone still awake, agreed, and Candice turned them towards the two humans. Chad and Tatsuki versus Noritora and Tessera. Tessera tried again to crush Chad beneath his fist, letting his transformed states seize, empower give him the edge against the Fullbringer. Chad caught the fist and dropped it slightly, cushioning the force of the blow, and using a brighter light to solidify the sand beneath him to gain a proper foothold. With that, he threw Tessera's fist to the side and threw him down onto the ground. Tessera took the chance to grab onto Chad and slam him against his fist, coughing in place as the air was forced from his lungs. Chad could only weather the attacks as Tessera slammed him into the ground and began to crush the Fullbringer in his grip. Chad struggled against Tessera's strength until he freed one of his arms. El Directo! He yelled, blasting the Rancor in the face and forcing the giant minor boar to drop him. As soon as he landed, he charged right back to Tesra and shot towards the Fraction's stomach with another El Directo upon contact and sending Tesra back quite a ways. Taking the chance he had now, he turned to see how Tatsuki was doing against Noritora. "You bitch!" And the Spada yelled, swinging his sides to blow away the flames the martial artist kept using. After the Rancor released their Zapakto, Chad and Tatsuki switch opponents, and Chad went to Tesra to match power for power, and Tatsuki to Noritora because the heat of her flames would exhaust him faster. "Eat this!" Tatsuki yelled, throwing a punch at the Spada. He raised the scythe to block it while using another of his scythes to shield his face. As he did that, he swung his other two scythes at her, which she used to flip over him and strike him in the back. The talons of her greaves left a trail of sparks against his skin, but he was hurting in a different way. "Damn it, that burns!" he growled as he revealed another pair of arms. One grabbed onto Tatsuki and slammed her into the sands in front of him. "There's nothing that disgusts me more than some bitch trying to be on the battlefield." Noritora roared as he got ready to slash Tatsuki to bits, only to be stopped. He was struck with a vicious uppercut from Chad. The Spada was thrown back as the Fullbringer aided his ally. "Everything all right?" he asked as he helped Tatsuki back to her feet. As she said, they saw Tesra charging at them. "Stubborn, very." Tatsuki agreed as they looked at each other and nodded. The pair ran towards Tesra with Chad just a little ahead. As the two sides neared each other, Tesra bending over to swipe at them. Tatsuki jumped onto Chad's back and shot towards Tesra's head. She was creating a concentrated fireball on her foot and snapped it at the Warthog's mask. "Meteor strike!" It exploded violently on contact and threw the large Rancor off balance. That gave Chad his window and punched the ankle of the Rancor so hard they heard a bone snapping before Tesra collapsed. "Funka!" Tatsuki said, shooting down onto Tesra, creating a pillar of flames as her fist connected. The air was filled with the roar of flames and screams of agony as Tesra yelled one last thing out. "Master Noritora, forgive me!" The Rancor yelled out as his resurrection form faded away and the real body was consumed in the fire. Tatsuki rose to her feet and glared at the Spada, who managed to return it. Chad noticed this and turned to face his opponent, who promptly fired a Cetro from his tongue. Chad just barely managed to transform both of his arms to block the attack, pieces of his shield breaking off against the onslaught. When it ended, Chad went back to his devil's left and Giant's right and readied himself for the next bout. "What's with that look?" Noritora asked the pair, noticing Tatsuki back it off. "You think you can beat me just because there's two of you against me now? It seems a little cheap if you ask me, but it doesn't matter. I am the strongest!" he yelled out in defiance, pointing a scythe at the Fullbringer. Chad, however, was unimpressed. "The strongest?" Spada asked sarcastically. "I heard that the Spada were ranked by power, and you are the seventh Spada. Does that mean that there are six that are stronger than you?" Noritora glared at the Fullbringer as he continued. I also get the feeling that if I was worse off from my fight with Gantenban, you wouldn't hesitate to try and strike me down. A sound strategy, but hardly one that would cement your strength in this world." Chad could sense the growing anger in the Rancor as he continued. Landing the killing blow or fighting an already weakened opponent doesn't prove that you're stronger, only that you cheat yourself on your quest for the title of strongest. Noritora had enough and lashed out at Chad, who circled behind the Rancor with bringer light. "Who the hell are you to lecture me?" The Spada roared, swinging the three of his scythes at Chad and trapping him between his blades. "You need some bitches help just to fight me." Chad slammed his head against Noritora's and the two were locked in. "I don't care what it takes. I'll kill everyone till I'm the strongest." He continued, two hands dropping their scythes to impale Chad's body. "Starting with you and that friend of yours." The Spada pulled back as Chad dropped to his knees, bleeding quite a lot from the holes in his sides. The Rancor regained his bloodthirsty smirk as he raised the scythe ready to decapitate the Fullbringer. In Chad's mind, he heard his grandfather's voice. You weren't given the strength to hurt others. The old adage that Chad learned to learn to give his life by, to live his life by, once again motivating him to pull out whatever lay within him to fight and protect. He clenched his right fist and threw his strongest punch to date as it connected with Norito's stomach. Sato's coin glowed and there was a bright flash just before the rancor was sent flying into one of the stone pillars and causing to collapse. Chad was panting for breath while his arms glowed, feeling a drain on his soul. Norito soon rose from the rubble, glaring at Sato. "You bastard!" he growled, wincing as he felt pain through his body. "He managed to fracture a couple of my ribs there." He thought, assessing his total damage. "I'll kill you!" he growled before a wave of heat washed over him. He turned to see Tatsuki standing in the center of an inferno. "Shunko!" he heard the martial artist say before she flashed in front of him and slammed her armored fist into his face. What followed was a massive blast of fire that started from her fist and continued burning until he was shot away from her because of the pressure. As the fire died, Tatsuki collapsed from exhaustion, and Naruto felt his life leave him. "All my power, and I died because of some bitch!" He mentally roared in rage. His hero did well to protect him from physical attacks, but the heat from Tatsuki's attacks bypassed that defense and roasted him. He was trying to get to his feet before he was pulled up by one of his arms and came face to face with Chad once more. "My mercy for you is now complete," Chad said as he charged his arms. "Brazos dobles, diablo!" He slammed his fist into Naruto's side, causing a colliding shockwave that destroyed the spot's insides. The last thing Naruto could consciously feel as he began choking on his own blood was regret. Ichigo versus Grimjaw. The clashes were explosive as each side struck at the other. Grimjaw in his religious Shon and Ichigo with his two Zangetsu. The two danced a lethal routine. Strikes aimed to kill, blast aimed at vitals, but neither had an edge over the other. They kept that up all around them. Was a wasteland, scarred by the clashes of the warriors. They took the chance to pause and breathe. You've certainly gotten stronger, Grimjaw," Ichigo said, honestly meaning that after considering their first encounter. "What about the offer that I've been making to each rancor I've come across?" The panther scratched his head and thought, "When we first met, you really pissed me off, Kurosaki." The spotter said, looking the hybrid in the eye. There was confidence and cockiness that just set me off because I saw you as a kid that was overconfident. Then you proved me wrong and kicked my ass. Afterwards, I was punished and humiliated for my failures, and I wanted nothing more than to kill you. Then I was offered a way to gain the power I needed to fight you again, but it came at a cost. Every spotter represents an aspect of death. Mine is destruction, and I was told that if I wanted the power I so desired, I had to throw away everything and embrace my aspect. So here's my deal. Tame me, quell my thirst for destruction, then I will join you. As he was talking, his hair was slowly turning black, and his armor fell off to reveal more black covering his entire body, shining like obsidian, and a truly feral snarl on his face. Reacciona, segunda etapa. Illustrated Guide to Soul Reapers, why Yuzu and Karin didn't get boyfriends while Ichigo was still a Squad 15 lieutenant. The twins were sitting together in the lunchroom at Shino's academy, trying to enjoy some time together in between classes, and trying being the operative word in this case. "My family is hosting a party for the nobilities in Serete. I could show you how to mingle with them, ladies of Kurosaki," one handsome young noble among a crowd of boys suggested. "I've always had an interest in archery. I heard that almost all Quincy were master archers. Would you mind helping me out?" Another asked. This went on with Yuzu currently turning down some others, while Karin shared her brother's blunt disregard of formality. Unfortunately, the crowd did not shrink even a little. Not even a single person. "How about you guys leave?" The crowd heard a voice from behind. The twins smiled while the boy scoffed in an irritated manner. "They already have plans with me. And who the hell are you?" They turned to see Scout and Ichigo cracking his knuckles as he glared at the group. progress on Project 16. Dordoni soon stepped through the Garganta and into a large laboratory where he was greeted by a woman with a braided ponytail in a kimono that reached to her mid-thigh and had an obai that seemed unsurprised by his appearance. Welcome. I am Nemu Kurosaki. Kurosochi. She greeted politely. Am I correct in assuming you were sent here by Ichigo Kurosaki? Yes, ninja. The Plivreon responded. Follow me, Nemu said as she guided Dordoni down the halls of the lab, one in particular causing him to flinch. Just kill me already, he heard someone yell out in pain. In a moment, almost done researching you, Dordoni heard another, more gleefully sadistic voice say. But it seems like no two are exactly alike. Maybe I'll need another test subject soon. Dordoni began to sweat. No worries, you're not going to Master Mayuri, you're going to Captain Urahara. His vivisections are painless, Nemu said, making the Pederson breathed a sigh of relief until he remembered what a vivisection was. Tsukishima's loyalty and progress was coming along back to its normal pace before Ichigo ended up wrecking most of the stereotype. Urahara and Mayuri had the replica of Kurokara finished and in place, the souls of the city hidden in stasis, and countermeasures ready in case something happened to switch the replica for the original. But there was one loose end that needed to be dealt with, one that could crush the entire soul society. You understand why you're here, then? Soifun asked the Fullbringer, who was currently one of the most dangerous figures in society, since he could now manipulate Ichigo's memories. I'm perfectly aware, Captain, Tsukishima responded. I'm in the unique position on having power over Ichigo Kurosaki, who is the key in the battle against Yuabaha. I'm no fool. I'm not about to jeopardize the world for any stupid reason. I've had purpose, respect, and the chance to help. Not an ideal first meeting, but I have time to adjust. I'm ready to help in any way. End of chapter 71.